Good morning.
Welcome to Up Missoula. I'm Scott Ramf.
And I'm Noelle McBoy.
And I'm Josh Manny.
And thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's Friday.
Yep, it's Friday.
The weekend is upon us. What are you guys going to do?
I know what I'm going to do.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to be a news reporter because that's what I do on the weekends.
Yay! That sounds good.
So,
Sounds nice.
yeah, I might be doing some reporting for Wake Up today, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
And today's the last day of the Free Summer Camp.
Yeah.
And we're premiering our big movie. It's going to be like a post-apocalyptic movie. It's called Radio Action.
Radioactive.
Nice. What's the synopsis?
A bunch of kids running around fighting things.
Being radioactive. Perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds dangerous.
Did they come up with the idea, or?
With all their ideas, they came with a whole bunch of different ideas. It's a zombie movie. No, it's there's radioactive monsters. No, it's action movie. No, it's drama. No, it's
No, it's
noir.
a romance.
There's romance.
Anyone want a romance movie?
The only romance movie that was done was during the flagship second semester.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I'll show. I'll show some of that again, but probably for Monday's show, I'll probably show part of the video from.
Yeah. I want to see it.
What we accomplished today.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But in terms of weather, let me just whoop that over there. If you take a look at the iCam.
Or?
Oh, we're not hooked up, so I'll hook us up real quick.
Yeah, so.
I was noticing that just now.
It's
like, what's going on?
Pretty
It's hooked up.
nice outside.
There it is.
Warm for being. Okay.
Okay, so there it is. I hate it when you just barely touch something and it fixes itself. So if you can see it outside, it's a little overcast. The weather's going to be, it's probably going to be pretty stormy because yesterday it rained cats and dogs.
Yeah, yesterday it really came down.
I was hiking
And then
with Miss Cat's very own Ron Schull.
Yeah, it's 56 degrees outside. It's moderate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nice, like
Really
light
nice.
pullover weather.
For being, 8 in the morning, it's nice.
It's gonna rain tonight for sure.
Yeah, maybe
tonight, this afternoon, probably right after the show, it'll probably start raining. This weekend, it's gonna rain. Sunday, expect it to be clear. All the thunderstorms, all this stuff is gonna be past us by then, which is gonna be great. And there's no thunderstorm. There was no thunderstorm this week, so the weather has lied to us.
Of course.
Wednesday was threatening big time. It was like, oh, there's a storm coming. It's like barely any storm came at all. And then Thursday, all
What
the
about
storm.
yesterday though? That was pretty intense. That
was.
rain.
Some heavy rain. We were caught in it, actually.
Were you?
Yeah.
Was it fun?
It was fun, yeah.
Kind of fun.
The trail was a little bit slippery, but other than that.
That's good. I was rolling burritos and watched it all come down.
So
Nice.
if you guys are planning on staying in tape, make sure to watch MCAT. It's wonderful programming.
Mm-hmm.
First up is, I want to say it's the, it's the Mansfield Conference on Human Trafficking. And it's part 2. This is their Q&A. And that's going to be at 6 p.m. tonight. And following that is the Central Southwest Asia Conference, and that's the part 1 of it. And they're talking about Afghanistan. So the first thing I'm going to show is the human trafficking, and this is like the sequel to the one there from last week when they were talking about prostitution.
Okay.
Okay.
And here we go.
If it's specifically for adults and children, and they would begin to fall into that category if you were trafficked from another country. And the vast majority, I think all of the federal agencies have interpreters that are available. So if agency comes across someone and they don't have those resources, they can call their friendly local FBI agent who can make a call and get some of those services, as well as a lot of the NGOs also have interpretation services, and the National Human Trafficking Resource Center has various languages on their hotline as well. So they are out there, and we help anyone and everyone we can.
And that's going to be tonight at 6:30. And for some reason, my graphic didn't work, so... so following that is going to be the Central and Southwest Asia Conference at the University of Montana, and this was done last spring semester. So.
I am James Papai, and I'm going to be lecturing on infrastructure and sustainable development in Afghanistan. This is a map of Afghanistan. here the important areas are Kandahar, Herat, Mazar-e Sharif, and Kabul. And this province right here is Kandahar province, and right next to it is Helmand province, as seen in this map. And they are going to be two of the most important provinces in this presentation.
And that's going to be at 7:30 p.m. tonight.
Nice.
All this stuff is going to be on tonight.
Very nice.
So just a lot of great programming about human trafficking, about why Afghanistan is important on certain provinces. And I think a lot of fine data and great stuff. All
Yeah.
this was shot by Ron Scholl. And if you have an organization or a lecture that you want to televise on MCAT, whether it's based in education or nonprofit, just call MCAT at 542-6228 or log on to MCAT at MCAT.org. That's MCAT.org.
MCAT.org.
Yep. So I'm gonna skip from the vault for now, and we're gonna
Okay.
jump over to another section of it.
Let's do city council.
City Council. All
You
right.
down with that?
Yep. But first, we'll be right back after we show this PSA that Josh will be bringing up as soon as I'm vamping, so he can bring up the next PSA, and then he's going to talk about city council and the important part about the homelessness. And you're talking more about homelessness, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about homelessness, and then also there was the I3 students, which I3 stands for Imagine, Innovate, and Inspire. So,
And when we come back, we'll show that. So,
all right, let's watch this PSA.
Come on, guys. Rolling? Good. When hiking in bear country like this, it's important to remember your essentials, like bear spray and knowing how to use it. Liam, where's my bear spray?
I put it in the bottom of your pack.
I didn't mean, how am I supposed to get it quickly?
When adventuring in bear country, remember, bring bear spray and know how to use it. Hike in groups, make noise, and don't run. Be bear aware.
And we're back. So, city council is up.
Yeah, so City Council, again, this was Committee of the Whole, and what they're talking about is I3, which is a program. It's the brainchild of Dr. Apostle. It's a program where students basically they come up with a project and they work in teams and they make the project come to life. And the reason why they're doing this is to get real world experience, because that's how the real world works. So it's a summer camp thing going on right now in which the students had to apply and the teachers had to apply to get the job. And again, like real world experience. So let's listen to the director of I3.
Yep. And over 300. Oh, that's really loud. Could you turn me down? But apparently, over 300 people applied to teach. So there's a lot of people who are teaching, and they had about. I do believe that they had about 60 some spots open for teaching for the next school year, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who retired and a lot of people came back. But
And the students, the way they applied, they didn't put their names on the applications. They were just numbers, so that way the teachers or whoever is doing the application.
And it was a 2-day interview spree, so it was just like they interviewed more than 300 people in just 2 days, and it's like, wow.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, let's listen to this guy.
Where students would learn in a team-based, project-based format. So they wouldn't be traveling from room to room, seeing a particular teacher about a particular course, that they would work in teams and the teachers would come to the groups as needed. These teams would pick out a project that they would work on together, and it would be completely student-driven. The students pick out the project, the students decide what their work schedule is going to be, they decide how they're going to break down the work of this project. So the point being to give them the real-world focus in public school that they will see once they're out of public school. Hopefully they'll go on to higher education, but in any format that they're going to enter after public school, they're going to need to be able to work in teams, they're going to need to be able to work on projects, and they're going to need to be able to show demonstrable results for that work. And that is the point of I3, is to try and help bring that educational format into the forefront now. So far it's just a summer program. We had one last year, it was the inaugural year, and then we're going to be starting our second one on June 7th, or excuse me, July 7th.
That's him just describing what I3 is. And so basically what happened after that was the actual students from the I3 program sat down in front of City Council and started basically talking about ideas and presenting ideas, and then also kind of asking City Council what ideas they had. So basically the rest of the sound bites are some examples of that. So let's listen to the first
kind
one.
of expand on one of them. Somebody had suggested the idea of using a interface such as Instagram or Twitter or Facebook with the city council, so that if somebody's at work and can't come to city council, since it meets during the day most of the time, then they could still get their ideas out there. Because a lot of the people in the community want to be involved, but due to things such as work and all that fun stuff, they are unable to come down to give their input and suggestions and all of that. And I wanted to ask how receptive you guys would be to that.
All right, so that's him talking about.
I'm sure they'd totally be down for it, because half the city council are on their computer during the council meeting anyways.
Yeah. The only problem that the foreseeable problem was the anonymity of Twitter. So basically, because you have to state your name and you have to identify who you are. Because
in Twitter, it's like your name would be J. Rosh, 2014.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, J. Rosh. Oh, interesting.
Oh, who's that?
Who is J. Rosh? Yeah. So here's another thing that Emily Bentley's talking about. She's talking about the urban forest and the All Abilities program. So I just wanted to...
Always a hot topic with the urban forest. That's always.
It really is.
Because all the trees are dying. But let's listen to Emily Bentley.
There's this problem with our aging trees in Missoula. So we planted trees in the early part of last century, and they're all dying. And we are trying to plant them and prune them and keep them alive as long as possible and replace them. And so finding a way to plug into that, I think would be a really good project. And then the other project that's happening right now that might be timely for your group is the All Abilities Playground. All Abilities Playground is a playground for that any child can go to with any disability, able-bodied or not. So people in wheelchairs, people with autism, people that have are able-bodied, and so finding some way to plug into that. I know they're going to really be trying to do a lot of outreach around that. It's going to have its grand opening this summer, and it's just kicked off construction. So those are just two other things to throw out there.
All right, so that's Emily Bentley talking about the urban forest and All Abilities Playground. Well, here's another one. This is a cool idea by the student named Donnie Christensen. He's talking about trying to make lunches more fresh and trying to source food from the local community and trying to make the lunches more healthy. So let's listen to Donnie Christensen.
The idea I want to bring up is getting the schools better freshly made lunches, because that's a big deal. I know that friends of mine and students that go to all high schools would say that the lunches we get could be way better, and if we just freshly made each lunch instead of freezing it and then doing that each day, it'd be so much better.
Does anyone want to respond to that, or shall I? Jordan, go ahead.
I think that's a great idea. I remember school lunch, and I don't remember it fondly, I guess. And I think there's some great opportunities to kind of plug in with some of the school gardens that have come up. I live right by Lowell School, and their garden is just, it's so great to watch. But I think it's unfortunate that those are usually restricted to much younger age groups in terms of curriculum. So, I mean, I think anything that you can do to get people involved in gardening and local food and so on that's awesome.
Thanks. I was just going to add in, there's an excellent program in this at the university, food services, and I'm real fortunate. My wife works at Garden City Harvest, and I'm good friends with a guy named Jason Mandala at Garden City Harvest who works on some of these school gardens and programs and such. So there's a couple resources there that I think could tie into what you want to do. It's a great idea, and I think they'd be helpful, and I'd be certainly willing to help with that as well.
Thanks. So some context for the discussion that might be interesting for you to get is that there's a federal law, because most of the school lunches are funded out of the federal budget. And there's a federal law that basically said you have to improve the quality of school lunches. And there's an effort afoot basically by the National Association of School Lunch People to repeal the law or dilute it so they don't have to make better lunches. And this is like a real law that stands a chance of passing Congress. So it would be an excuse for you to go talk to your representatives or senators and their staff about your concerns and what they see as the dimensions of the issue.
All right, so that's them talking about, making lunches more fresh.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of solutions that they can do. Like, university has farm to college because they have a lot of people who are passionate about this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, a lot of the reasons why a lot of schools' policies and plans, there's like, okay, we have a new year, we're going to do something new. And it's kind of like goes back into the old
new
regular machine.
Yeah.
And everyone has to be on board. You have to have you have to have the lunch lady, you have to have the students, you have to have some of the teachers for sure. And I mean, I think a great solution to help deal with this stuff is like, instead of initializing like a rule or a law that would say, oh, you need a teacher who knows like some kind of agriculture stuff, and you need to teach an agriculture class, because there's so many classes. Like even the school fundings, like a lot of them are being cut. Like a lot of the arts programs get cuts like the first thing, and then there's like shop or whatever. But a lot of times, one of the solutions can be like what they do for recess, because there's always, I think a great time was like you'd have designated kids each time during recess to work on their school garden. If they have a school garden, they set up a school garden. So during recess, they take probably about 5-10 kids aside per recess, and then they'd have them work on the garden. And then of course there's maybe there might be 1 or 2 kids out there, because there always is, who's like really passionate about their garden, and then they take pride in what they've grown, and they like every recess. Cute.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea, Scott. Yeah. You should go to city council and
That's what I was just about to say. Go to city council.
Go to city council.
And then, so this one was interesting, I thought, because I've never considered this before, but Jason Weiner talks about some aspects to panhandling that, again, I've never considered before. So let's hear what Jason Weiner has to say.
The other one that comes up that's more difficult is panhandling. The issues that we have with people who make other people feel uncomfortable downtown, or who do things on the sidewalks that they shouldn't do, are often tied to alcohol. And the alcohol is often purchased with money that is received from people who, either because they think it's cool or because they think it's compassionate, are giving money to people on the sidewalk. And the negative consequences of that are considerable. And what people tell us is that it's mostly young people that are doing the giving, often college students, but certainly people younger than that as well. So if you want to take on a difficult public education issue, you can take on the issue of panhandling and come at it from really what is the supply side, and that is people funding other people's addictions.
All right, yeah. So that's Jason Weiner talking about
Telling it like it is.
Interesting.
Telling it like it is, yeah. And that leads to the.
And I just got to say, is like, where are the college kids finding the money to give to the homeless?
I don't know. Probably their parents.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they're lucky. So anyway, that leads to the next topic that we're talking about, which was the public safety and health, and they talk about the discussion regarding implementation of the pedestrian interference and aggressive solicitation ordinance, and this conversation is taken from the angle of the jail, and they have the current sheriff there, Carl Ibsen, and then they have a woman from the jail named Barbara Roderick, and then they also have the current undersheriff, Josh Clark. So they talk about So they're talking about the jail and how, basically, I'll let you listen to the sound bites, but the jail and how it's kind of the venue right now for all of the problem people downtown, the transients and the homeless people who have a lot of addiction problems and who are causing issues downtown. So the jail is kind of the venue, and
if I could echo what you're saying, it's basically the jail that we're using for undesirables.
Undesirables. So say we call them undesirables. Well, a jail isn't meant for undesirables. A jail is meant for criminals. At least that's what they're saying in these sound bites. But let's listen to them. So here we go.
We had tossed around a little bit attaching jail time to the ordinances to make them more impactful. One of the reasons is that police officers are finding that will sit there and just write a ticket and another ticket and throw tickets at people, and people just sit there and like laugh at them because there's nothing that the police officers can do because they're not being, they're open container or they're sitting somewhere they're not allowed to sit, but they're not breaking any state law, if provided there's no warrant. So do you have any thoughts on that? And I'll just leave it at that. Do you have any thoughts on that? On how we could help our police officers in the city when they're sitting there writing ticket after ticket after ticket and being ignored by people who are problematic?
Well, it's an interesting. I'm not exactly sure what term to call it. It's interesting because it's like raising. Everyone have kids? Okay, if you have kids and you tell your little son who's acting up, you say, now don't do that. Now this is the second time I've told you. This is third time. This is the 20th time. If there is a violation but there is no penalty, and effectively if we can't get them in jail, we can't get them in something, effectively there is no penalty. Many of these folks, they can't be fined. They don't have any money. So that goes back into Jason's earlier statement about a lifestyle, and I believe what was mainstreaming? Mm-hmm. They are in the mainstream of where they want to be, many of them. And part of it is they know that, the taxpayer, the public, the cops, everybody, we're stuck. If you write them a ticket and they let it go to warrant,
so that's,
it means nothing.
Sheriff Carl Ibsen just talking about kind of, writing a lot of tickets. They're not, you can't exactly put people in jail for the ordinances that, like, if you disobey the ordinance, say you sit within 10 feet of an entrance, you can't go to jail for that. So they're having issues with that. But another thing that they talk about is how many beds are in the jail. So let's hear about that.
How many beds are available for Missoula citizens that are getting in trouble going to jail?
Well, you can't come check in. When we talk about being full is not necessarily an equal number to the actual number of beds, because at the same time you got to consider that there are a lot of prisoners who have to be segregated. They can't be put in the same pod, same block with other prisoners, so it all works out that way. What do we have for actual numbers?
Okay, isolation beds, we call those max beds, or beds that are single-celled. Someone comes in intoxicated or needs to be separated from people. We have 16 of those beds available. We have a classification pod where they're typically not intoxicated or under the influence, and we have 24 beds available for that. That's a 72-hour condition. They would be sitting in a population of 24 inmates. Then they can be farmed out to the other 5 pods of 24 available beds for classification. Once they're classified, they would go out into those other pods. So you figure a unit of 24 beds, 6 pods is 144 inmates. 24 of those beds are strictly for classification. Sometimes the inmates will stay there longer because we have no beds to put them in. That's just one unit. Then you go to the middle unit, which is considered our max unit. That's where the 16 beds for detoxing is allowed, or folks that just can't live with others. And then they have another pod with 2 female pods of 32 potential beds for those. We're currently filled with female beds. I think we're currently around 46 females. I can't remember what the population was today. So we did have to take away from one of those male bed pods of 16 to allow for the overflow of females.
All right, so that's the jail talking about, not the jail, but that's Barbara Roderick from the jail talking about how many beds there are and who goes where. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to basically where Jason Weiner is talking about normalization. How does so basically when a troublemaker is put into jail, they are made sober and they turn normal. So normalization, that's the idea.
Detoxed.
So confinement equals normalization, but we don't quite have the venue for our troublemakers or our undesirables downtown. We only have a jail.
Right.
So
we use our jail as a drunk tank.
So we use our jail as a drunk tank. So at any rate, let's hear from Jason Weiner.
I think I'm on the same page with some of what I heard other people saying. I mean, it sounds to me like the normalizing effect of being in jail isn't really the forcible confinement element of it. But that seems to be like the only way that we have to deal whatever is, to get the other effects of normalization is to confine people in the jail, because that's where we can provide this. So it seems like we should find a way to deliver the normalization through some other venue. And I'm betting we could do it at a lower cost and with a better effect, because the objective of a facility that's seeking to reintegrate somebody with dominant norms and senses of consequences is different than, I think, criminal justice, correctional philosophy. So, but lots of these people are still going to come to us because they interact with law enforcement. And so, part of what I'm wondering is if we are creating alternatives to jail, is the money that we have to jail people available to fund the operations of a facility like that?
Well, we're currently, I'm glad you're mentioning something like that. I ran into somebody not long ago that was, her destiny before she retires is to get some type of a mental health center up and running in Missoula, like is in Hamilton or Bozeman or Billings. And a lot of those positions are grant oriented, where they get the funding to either build the building, staff the place. We're currently working on that, and if you're open to something along those lines, I can direct her or that entity or your way if you're open to.
That's Jason Weiner, basically talking about what I was calling before normalization, how confinement equals normalization.
Isn't he basically saying that they need a different venue rather than jail?
Basically saying
and not the
that.
POV, because the POV is for homeless individuals or at-risk families who
want to get help,
and who are willing to. And it's a drag. You can't be on drugs. You can't be drinking. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm not saying we should open a wet Poverello Center. That's not going to help anymore.
That's been thrown around. That idea has been thrown around, though, in City Council.
But I think there's always a third option. I mean, you should always. Like what he's trying. Maybe Jason doesn't really know exactly what we should do, but he kind of has the right idea of saying that maybe we need like a facility where. We have them come through, and then we can help employ maybe sociology, psychiatrists, that kind of stuff, to actually work with them on a case-by-case basis. Because a lot of times the Poverello Center it helps people, but there's a whole lot of different infrastructure, but a lot of times it's just kind of gives them a roof over their head, and they follow rules, and they get meals.
Yeah.
But this I was thinking more like like people who are willing to go more in depth with it, and I'm assuming that the city would give funding to this kind of organization that could go in depth with a case-by-case basis.
And the city is paying money anyways for these troublemakers, these
undesirables,
however you want to call them.
But a lot of times it's like we've been to bigger cities. You're from bigger cities and you've been around, and our homeless issue is not as bad as a lot of different other homeless issues. Because I was in Salt Lake City, I was just hanging outside downtown or whatever, and I noticed that one homeless lady, she literally, like, as soon as people walked by, she turned on the waterworks. She started crying like it was the end of the world. She, like, you think ours was bad? She, like, it was like harassing people, and she starts crying, get all hysterical, and then she can turn that on and off like Q. I was watching her. I was like across the street, and it was just like every time a person would walk, she'd go, and then go, and go. Huh. It was kind of funny, but at the same time, it's kind of like opportunist.
Yeah, sad. Yeah.
Well, it's sad too. I agree with you, Noel. I think it's sad. It
is.
Ultimately, so.
Because they did I think it's kind of funny because they did a study that's saying that some homeless people, like panhandlers, are not necessarily in the same category as homelessness, because people make a living off of panhandling in big cities.
Mm-hmm.
They did this study, and they found out like this one panhandler got $40,000 a year.
Wow.
Because you get 1,000 people, and 100 people, like 10% give you money.
Yeah.
So that's $100 a day for 30 days. So $3,000 a month. And it adds up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that's all of the city government I have today.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Awesome.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yep.
Let's get all proactive and let's see what's happening this week and
Events next. Okay. So these are all Friday events. Horses, interspecies communication and health. This is put on by the Red Willow Learning Center. It's at the University of Montana. It's a 3-day conference celebrating horses and humans and the healing that results from their partnerships. Speakers include Ann Perkins, Linda Kahonov, Lee Shambo, and Rebecca Bailey. The conference also features breakout presentation from local equine therapy professionals, as well as live demonstration with horses. There will also be a trip to Willow Bend Farm in Tura on the final day of the conference for a more direct experience working with horses. So it's Friday, June 27th, 12:30 to 5:30, Saturday, June 28th, 9 to 5, Sunday, June 29th, 9 to 1 p.m., and then on Friday, June 27th from 7 to 8:30 is a special presentation by anthropologist Dr. Ann Perkins. And you can register online at www.mindbodyspiritmontana.org. And you can either go to it live and be there in person, or you can stream it. And so for the live, for the live conference, it's $235. And then if you want to stream it, it's $125. And then there is a Missoula Quilter Guild 2014 Cowgirl Roundup Quilt Show. This is at 10 a.m. at Big Sky High School. The quilt show will be held today from 10 to 7 and then tomorrow from 10 to 4. And they will have 2 featured quilters, Julie Starr and Lucille Kemper. There are over 500 quilts. There's a quilt raffle, free demonstrations, vendor market, boutique, silent auction, and a concession stand. And you can give Big Sky High School a call, 251-7162, if you want more information. And then at the Spectrum Discovery area today, they're having the Discovery Bench activity is slime, and then the Brain Lab activity is light dancing larva. So it's $3.50 per person, and then children 3 and younger are free. Yeah. And then also there is a Big Sky Renaissance Fair.
Finally.
4 p.m. It's at Stevensville. I'm pretty sure it's all weekend. It's from the 27th to the 29th in Stevensville. For Friday, it's from 4 to 9, and then Saturday, it's 11 to 9, and Sunday is 11 to 6. And admission for adults is $6, and 12 and under is $3. And this year's fair benefits the Stevensville Pantry Partners Food Bank. Have you guys been?
No, I just wanted to say something.
I haven't been either. But okay, also today is National HIV Testing Day. So the Open Aid Alliance will
Just down the hall.
Yeah, that's just down the hall. We'll be hitting the streets of Missoula with passing out condoms and information about HIV and AIDS, and there will be testing available. So, yeah, take care of yourself.
Definitely.
Also, there's an Olympic Day fencing event. This is at 6 p.m. at the Missoula Fencing Association. This activity is one of more than 700 events taking place nationwide between June 14th and June 30th and around the world. More than 160 countries take part in this annual celebration. Olympic Day was created in 1948 to commemorate the birth of a modern Olympic Games. This focuses on the Olympic values and ideals such as fair play, perseverance, respect, and sportsmanship. So the fencing class is for ages 9 to 18, and it's from 6 to 8 on 1200 Shakespeare Street. And you can call 251-4623 if you want more information on that. At the press box tonight, they're having a showcase comedy. The guys that they're having, they're comedians from Boise, TJ Wary, Eric Lyons, and Kenny Waite. So go check that out. It'll be $7 in advance or $8 at the door, and it starts at 9. So that's what's going on Friday. These up next are all Saturday events. So the Audubon, group society is having birds and conservation in the Upper Blackfoot Valley. It's at 7 a.m., and they'll meet on the northwest corner of the Adams Center parking lot. So it's going to be an all-day outing to the Upper Blackfoot Valley to view and learn about conservation of wildlife and ranching resources accomplished through the community-based Blackfoot wetlands. Yeah, dress appropriate and bring a lunch. You can go to call 549-8052 for more information on that. And then, as we all know, every Saturday there's a Missoula Farmers Market, which is down by the red X's, and that's from 8 to 1. People's Market, which is at Pine Street, on the corner of Pine and Higgins, and that's from 9 to 2. And then the Clark Fork Market is at Caris Park, and that's from 8 to 1.
Under the bridge.
Yep. And then tomorrow is 34th Annual Bitterroot Day Festival. It's at 9 a.m. at the Ravalli County Museum, which is in Hamilton. And during Bitterroot Day, the museum grounds are the setting for, a exhibit on the history and culture of the Salish. And so the day's festivities will include arts, crafts, food, and produce from local and out-of-the-area vendors. And they'll have potted bitterroot plants and seeds for sale. They'll have live music, children's activities, and 2 signature competitions. They also will have their 3rd annual jerky contest and 2nd annual Create a Difference Recycle Craft competition. Yeah. So a festival opens at 9 a.m. and it goes to 3, and you can call 363-3338 for more information. There's also an epic county-wide yard sale. This is for Sanders County at 9 a.m. It's an 8th annual Sanders County yard sale. It's 130 miles of sales along Highway 200 and Highway 28 from Dixon to Hot Springs to Huron. So you can go drive along the highway and go yard sailing. Sounds pretty cool.
And watch out for deer.
Yeah. So again, it's on Highway 200 and Highway 28. So yeah, call 827-6935 if you want more information on that. They're having a traditional Chinese medicine for dogs class. This is at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and it's a lecture that's given by Shura Burgreif, DVM of Noah's Ark Veterinary Hospital in Victor, Montana. Topics to be included cover how to access your dog's personality type to prevent disease, the 5 personality types and how to specifically feed and nourish each type to prevent disease, the clock of when every organ turns on and how this is useful in treating your dog and determining problems, hot versus cold dogs, raw versus cooked foods, what a traditional Chinese medicine exam consists of, discussion of commercial foods. There'll be a chance for questions and discussions, and it's $60 if you registered by the 14th, and after the 14th, it's $65. Yeah, and so this will be at 3800 South Russell Street, Suite 150. Call 317-1193 for more information on that one. There's a Core of Discovery camp out tomorrow, 1 p.m., Travelers Rest State Park, a free overnight adventure for new campers. You can camp where Lewis and Clark and generations of Salish people camped along the banks of Lolo Creek. So they'll have fun family activities, food and some gear is provided. The address is 6717 Highway 12, West Lolo, Montana. Call 273-4253 for more information. The Little Mermaid is at the Missoula Children's Theater. This will be July 28th and July 29th at 3 and 5 p.m. So those are the performances. And so the plot is about... It's not about the traditional Little Mermaid.
Because when they do these children's theater type stuff, they have to write it from scratch and they do their own music.
Yeah. So it's about this mermaid named Celia who loves music, and on her 16th birthday, to learn the secrets of life on dry land, she goes up to the world above. And, stuff happens. She's probably all right. Yeah. $9 for adults, $7 for seniors. And we'll talk about it more when it comes closer, but that's not until July. Yeah. And then, so that was all Saturday events, and now here's Sunday events. So the Summer Maid Fair is coming to town this weekend. This is an alternative outdoor arts and crafts fair, and it's always held in Caris Park. And it is, it's all weekend. I'm not exactly sure what time, but you can call 214-9078, or you can go to MissoulaMaidFair.com for more information. Oh, let's see. June 29th, 10 a.m. to 5.
Just swing on by to Caris Park all week.
It's family and hipster friendly. Great. There is an Inner Tube Water Polo League, 6 p.m. on Sunday at Splash, Montana. Games consist of 2 12-minute halves. Teams are comprised of 6 players, and at least 2 must be female. And so you just sit in a tube and, play water polo. Games are held at Splash, Montana. They start at 6 p.m. and it's $100 per team. So June 29th to August 10th. So it's a league. Yeah, sweet. And then at the Badlander on Sunday night is Jazz Martini Night, where they have $4 martinis and they have jazz from 9 p.m. to midnight. Live jazz starts at 9:30, and they'll have the Josh Farmer Band, the Vanguard Combo, and Front Street Jazz. So call 549-0235 if you have any questions on that. And those are the events.
Well, I have a couple questions. Where can people find information about all these events?
Oh yeah, go to MissoulaEvents.net. That's usually where I find all of my stuff. And it'll give you all the times and dates and websites and any phone numbers. Yeah. So if you want to know about these events, like more about them, go to MissoulaEvents.net. And
what I would like to know from the viewer, if you're watching, is that I want to know how do you find out about things? Like, I'm going to post a question on our Facebook page where I'm going to ask you, where do you find what to do on the weekend? Yeah. So log onto our Facebook page, Wake Up Missoula, and I want to ask you, where do you find out what to do for the weekend? And especially, what I've always noticed is that events are getting fuller and fuller. Yeah. And Montana, Missoula, in the summer, always stuff going on. There's a lot of different options you can go through. You have a crafts fair on Sunday, which I think is pretty sweet. You have a Renaissance fair in Stevensville, which is only 7 miles out of town.
Yeah, super sweet.
Chinese medicine for
your dog.
I know, isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting. I'm kind of wondering what kind of personality or what temperature my dog is. Is it a hot dog?
Or is it a cold dog?
It's shaped like a hot dog. That's
what I thought. I was like, wait, hot dogs? Wait a minute.
Yeah, but there's a lot of great stuff.
A lot of great stuff going on this summer.
So what are you doing this weekend, Noelle?
I'm gonna roll burritos, and one of my good friends is in town, so I'm gonna hang out and roll burritos and sleep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Mr. Josh Mene is gonna be Mr. Reporter Mene.
Indeed, I am. I hope maybe I'll go to some of those events that you were just talking about. Maybe the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
I would like to see you do a package on the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
In fact, I would totally, if you're going to do a package on the Renaissance Fair. I want to joust. You can dress up as a jest. It'll give you a perfect excuse to dress up for your
Josh
stand-up.
wants to joust.
And you can talk all like British or like fake British, like in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
And I could. Oh, we have that costume. Remember that large, like kind of look like a rug?
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
half man, half rug.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll wear it.
Well, we got a costumes from the MCT at the rummage sale, and it's like a full gown. It looks like a gown, but it's like really thick.
Yep.
You want me to wear a gown?
It's not really a gown. It's more like a
Renaissance
nightgown. And
It's like a rug that you put
it's
on.
like you're wearing a rug.
Cool.
It's cool.
I think it's really dope.
I think one of us should wear it for the show sometime. For the show.
Sometime.
Like literally, I will like if I'm going to do it, like I'd put it on, and then I just basically be hiding behind these brick walls behind us, and then I run back and forth.
That sounds
like,
great.
"Brr."
Yeah. Sweet.
So yeah.
All right.
Going back to what Scott said, tell us what you
Tell
do.
us what you do for
How
the
you
weekend.
find
Tell
it.
us how do you find out this stuff?
Yeah.
Friends. Yeah.
Family.
Loved
Dogs.
ones.
The internet.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Cold dogs.
Cold dogs.
You just go out, walk around, and it's like, hey, that looks fun, and then you go do it.
Random people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
I'm going to
Play our Oscar music.
play Oscar music. So for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramp.
I'm Noelle McAvoy.
And I'm Josh Minnie.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you Monday morning.
MCAT has summer camps. There is media camp, animation camp, and movie making camp.